Accidental overdose deaths are on the rise all across the country and right here in the Commonwealth. A new study found that accidental overdoses are now the leading cause of death in people under 40 in Kentucky. As WKYT's Samantha Valentino shows us, this comes as Narcan is newly available at pharmacies nationwide.
That drug Narcan, it's an amazing drug, and I have brought more people back from, seemingly the brink of death to have them awake and talking to me in a matter of seconds with the use of that drug.
Holly Buckenroth is an assistant professor at EKU. She spent 10 years working as a firefighter paramedic with the Lexington Fire Department.
When I first came on, I hadn't really seen a lot of opioid overdoses.
But as the years went on, Buckenroth says she watched firsthand as opioid overdoses increased. Now, accidental overdose deaths are the leading cause of death in people under 40 in Kentucky, according to a study from State Line.
It's because of these synthetic opioids, namely fentanyl.
She says just last year in Fayette County, half of all people who died of an overdose had fentanyl in their system.
Fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin. And this drug called Narcan all of a sudden started becoming a drug that we were giving on a daily basis, because Narcan counteracts the opioid.
Now, the life-saving drug is not just in the hands of paramedics, but also those of everyday people. Earlier this month, the drug became available to purchase at pharmacies across the country.
It's becoming more available over the counter. It's saving lives.
She says Narcan being available is a good thing, but she'd like to see the cost go down.
The over-the-counter, it's about $45 for a 2-pack. So it's still relatively expensive for the average person to buy.
She recommends keeping an eye out for community events where Narcan is handed out for free, as well as reaching out to harm reduction groups in your city. In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.